This case is up.
What?
Effed up.
Hey, should we get started?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Jury Dropouts. I'm Mike.
I'm Jamie.
And Marissa's here, but she's behind a computer. No one can hear her. No one can see her.
If you talk loud enough, we can hear you. We're going to ask you questions, and then you're going to answer. We'll have to repeat the answers.
Nah, you don't have to. No, you're fine. Nobody could hear you anyway. What was that?
Like I said, she's the brains behind the operation. She's working the tech portion.
Yeah, that's what she does. But anyways, so we talk old cases, new cases, court cases.
Interesting cases. Trending cases.
Anything. And we got one today.
What are we going to talk about?
It's Sean Combs. It's Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and my favorite, a.k.a.
Itty Bitty Diddy?
No, that's your favorite. That's your favorite.
That's a new one.
I like that one. He should run with that.
He should run with that.
But yeah, he's in the news. He's been indicted. 5 counts. So we got 2 counts, transportation to engage in prostitution. 2 counts, sex trafficking. And 1 count, racketeering conspiracy, which is that one's a little complicated.
That's your RICO, right?
That's RICO.
Okay, so explain RICO.
So I actually had to look it up. In my 13 years in law enforcement, it was local law enforcement. We really didn't get into racketeering. It seemed like it was that was a federal level.
Right.
And there is some state level racketeering, but this is federal. And so I did a little research so I could figure out how to explain this to where it made sense and it was simple. So this is racketeering. So it prohibits a pattern of criminal activity. But pattern isn't defined like you think pattern, like something that's over and over and over.
Like repetitive. No.
Yeah, it's not a like repetitive deal. So a pattern is defined through racketeering is 2 or more of enumerated offenses committed within 10 years of each other. And the enumerated offenses are just the offenses that the federal government listed out that 2 or more combined would be a racketeering charge. And it was brought about more to go after like mobs and
right.
things
because,
like that.
Yeah, immediately I think of money when I hear racketeering, but that's not necessarily.
In a way it is. So what it does is they target criminal enterprises who make crime a business. Basically, it's a income generating exercise and it could be a group of people, it doesn't have to be a business, but by a group. And so it charges people who commit crimes on behalf or because they are part of a group that commonly engage in the types of criminal behavior that are listed. And so these groups will usually expect its members to commit 1 or more of the enumerated offenses that are listed under the racketeering statute, which is like 18 U.S. Code 1962. And it's a separate offense than also the underlying charges. And it's actually a more serious offense. So it carries anywhere from 20 years to life in prison versus maybe, like in this case, the sex trafficking or the transportation to engage in prostitution, which might carry, let's say a 10-year prison sentence. So yeah, those are the alleged crimes. Alleged.
I mean, so truly he is kind of like the mob boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you read the indictment, I think the reason that there's racketeering is because they're alleging that he used employees of his company to help him with
the coercion and all of them.
Yeah, whether it be set up a hotel room or make travel arrangements or flights or whatever the case may be.
Plus then the blackmail on everybody.
Oh yeah, they definitely help with that, and they would track down people.
I mean,
that were
because
trying to
they're
get
the
away.
ones that are going to be I mean, he can't do it all on his own, so he's going to be dictating, okay, you're going to do this with this person and this with that person, and I need your help videotaping. And just like what we've heard from these stories is that so and so was hired to get the male prostitutes to the parties, and
it just so happens that all of these people, or at least it appears that most of them, also work for his business, which is why his businesses are listed in the indictment.
right.
And so, in reading the indictment, it even looks like, if convicted, that they will force him to liquidate parts of those businesses until they recover whatever they determine to be the amount of money that was made in the commission of the racketeering crimes.
So now I wonder, is that going to include, like, for example, and I'm probably getting too far ahead of myself, but what Cassie says as far as, he promised her 10 albums. She made all these albums, but he didn't publish them. Like, would it include the money that she would have potentially made from these albums that he purposely didn't publish from these songs?
I don't know.
I mean, can they go that far into that? Like, say she could say, hey, I was destined to make this so much money, but you didn't do what you promised. I held up my end, but you didn't hold up your end. So I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to calculate that, because they're going to have to calculate what they think he generated in revenue as a result of whatever crimes that he's going to be charged with.
Well, because I feel like that was a big one when in Cassie's case, is that, that's one of the things that she's saying is like, I stayed because you were promising me, or I agreed to do 10 albums and I did all these songs. I completed 9 of them, but you only published 1 of them. You only let 1 go out. So the rest of them aren't even heard by anybody.
Well, maybe we should talk about Cassie.
Sorry, like I said, I'm probably jumping ahead.
Well, no, I just think that maybe there's people that don't know who Cassie is. And Cassie is one of the people that is testifying and is an ex-girlfriend.
Right. So Marissa asked the other day, how did this all come about? And I said, well, it all started when that video came out in the hotel room of him chasing her down the hall and beating her. That's when it all started. That's when this technically all came out in the open.
And that video was recorded by the hotel on their surveillance cameras. And I think CNN, somebody got a hold of it.
Well, no, what it was the hotel miraculously lost that video, lost the surveillance video. But one of the security guards took a personal video of the surveillance video on his personal phone, and that's how they have the video.
And then he sold it to the media.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
But the actual surveillance video from the hotel is gone.
And I think, so he allegedly approached that security guard and tried to bribe him.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think it's actually, I don't know, I think that might have been in some of the papers that I read that had to do with the indictment, or it might have been during Cassie's lawsuit that she had filed. I don't know if that was 2024 or 2023 that she filed that.
I don't know.
And they settled for $30 million, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember what year.
But Cassie, so
I was thinking it was soon before that, like 2020.
I don't know. There's a lot.
I know.
So this has been in court for just over a week now, and Cassie's testified, and I think the security guard from the hotel has testified. I'm not sure who else has testified, but there have been a lot of complaints.
Mm-hmm. A lot
of suits.
Well, you sent that list and there's officially with names 33.
33.
And then there's another, probably that many of anonymous.
And they're not all female either.
No.
But the complaints are similar. And the complaints are all, I'm going to make this promise of some sort of a business agreement, whether it be a record deal, whether it be a modeling deal, a business deal of some sort. But then there's sexual assaults, abuse, and then he holds that over him.
Right.
Like, if you tell or you leave, there's no deal.
And then also there was video footage of it that said, okay, well, if you do tell, then I'm going to expose you.
Yeah, he recorded everything.
Right. So there's
Allegedly.
there's a double, it's, well, if you tell, I'm not going to do this for you. Also, if you tell, I'm going to expose you and send this videotape out in the open type of thing. So it's a double whammy.
It's bad.
Mm-hmm. Real bad.
Yeah. Got to keep saying alleged. Or we could get sued.
This is all alleged.
Yes. All alleged. Yeah, I don't want to lose
Our 2 followers?
Yeah. Our tens of dollars in recording equipment. But yeah, so where should we start with this one? Should we start with
I'm going to leave that up to you. I feel like you're the research behind this. I'm just I get the trending gossip and you do the actual research.
Well, the only research I've done is, so I've looked at some of the complaints that were filed with the courts by victims, such as Cassie, such as Adria English, I believe it's pronounced. And then I read a couple others, but it was funny because they all kind of read the same, other than Cassie obviously was abused more than the other because she was the girlfriend, and the others were like clients, such as who was the one that was in his making a band?
Yeah,
it was
her. And then there's also Aubrey O'Day. Aubrey O'Day was the other one. But Aubrey O'Day was very vocal. She came out. I mean, she voiced her complaints pretty early on about him.
Well, you're familiar with Don Richards, right?
Vaguely.
So, and this is just what I read, and this is according to the complaint that she filed. So she got on this making a band, and there was apparently thousands of contestants, and she made it to the final 12. And I think it weeded down to maybe 5, and they were going to start this girl group.
Okay, so now I think there was 2. He did it twice. Making of the band, and then there was Making of the Band 2. So was she on the first one or the second? Because
she was on both.
Oh.
Was she on 3?
Okay, because was the first one Dan and a.k.a? Is that what they were called? That's the one Aubrey O'Day was on.
Was that? What was the name of the band that Don Richards was in? Dan and a.k.a.
Okay.
So it started out, at least the way I read it, that there was just mainly there was a lot of abuse of the members of the band, making them stay up late nights, making them stay up for days at a time, actually, not letting them eat, not letting them go to the bathroom, calling them a bunch of hoes and bitches. And I mean,
pretty much resembles R. Kelly.
Yeah, weird.
Weird.
Yeah. And she actually witnessed some of the abuse of his girlfriend, which would have been Cassie. And she alleged she had been to the house, and Diddy comes down the stairs, appears to be high or intoxicated on something.
Allegedly.
And don't want to lose some tens of dollars. Anyways, and he's yelling. He's yelling because he didn't get a shirt. And Cassie's in there frying some eggs, and so he goes and he smacks her around and he throws the eggs on her. She curls up on the floor and he just goes off on a rampage. And I think Dawn Richards might have left at that point. There was actually another gal that was there that was part of, it might have been like a season 5 of the same show. I don't recall. But her other complaint is she would go over there for an interview or a meeting of some sort, and he would conduct the entire meeting in his underwear.
I did read that.
I mean, I'm all about walking around in your underwear.
But not if you're the manager or the CEO or whatever of their supposed business.
No, probably not.
I mean, that's
I'm not
highly unprofessional.
I'm not really that confident in myself.
Well, sounds like Diddy shouldn't have been either with his Tootsie Roll size. Bitty bitty.
Allegedly. He's itty bitty.
Allegedly.
There's another word for that. I think it's your favorite word.
Can we say micro penis?
Well, you just did.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we can edit it out. We're not going to, but we could.
Diddy had a micro P. Allegedly.
Yeah. Man, that's too bad.
Yeah, I know this is going off track, but somebody had brought up that, hey, well, let's just see if these claims are true. Just have him drop his drawers. They did it to Michael Jackson.
Did they really?
Yes. Remember when Michael Jackson had to go, he was testifying or he was in trial, and they actually sent him for a medical examination where they had to
measure it.
Yeah, well, they had to view his penis because one of his accusers had described like a birthmark or some specific thing that he had on his body, and they actually made him drop his pants. So they're saying, well, make Diddy do it. I mean.
Well.
No one wants to see that.
No. Well, I don't want to see it. But, so we have Cassie, Dawn Richards, Adria English.
Okay, so remind me who's Adria English.
Adria English. So Adria English was, I think she started out as an adult film star. She
was promised a modeling career, wasn't she? Was she the one that was promised a modeling career?
I believe her boyfriend was, and I could be wrong on this. So I think that.
Oh, you're right. Because I read this, I did read it, but let's just say there's a lot of stuff I read and a lot of stuff that just goes right out. So I don't remember a lot, but yes, the boyfriend was promised a modeling career, and then wasn't it something about working the white parties?
Yeah, so she got into go-go dancing, and according to what I read in the complaint is her boyfriend wanted a modeling job with Sean John. And so they met with Diddy, and Diddy said, well, I think we can do that, but you have to give me a blowjob first.
Yeah.
To the boyfriend.
Right.
He declined. So there was an alternative, and that was that Adria had to come dance at his white parties.
And you would think the alternative would be, okay, well, then have Adria do it. But no, Diddy don't play that way.
Yeah, it's weird.
Allegedly.
Yeah. That the request is gross.
Right.
I mean, it's effed up. But he did decline. I think at that point I might leave the meeting. I might say, maybe I'll just go work at the post office or something.
Yeah, but if you're a kid or whatever, 19 years old, 20 years old, still a kid, and you aspire to be famous.
That's an odd way to start out a negotiation, though. But they did reach a deal.
Right.
And that deal was that Adria was going to go dance at these parties as a go-go dancer. So she goes to party number 1, and everything was kind of fine. I think that they introduced some drugs to her and some alcohol, but for the most part, all they had her do was dance.
Well, and she's probably thinking she's fine because he's just prepositioned her boyfriend. So in her mind, she's thinking, wow, he's into dudes. So
That could be.
fine. I'm fine.
But she thought that legitimate businessman, because, I mean, that's how meetings go. So the first party was fine. She does party number 2. Party number 2 is basically the same. She does her dancing. There is some alcohol and drugs, but for the most part, it's fine. But then there's party number 3.
It's always that third one.
Yep. It was my third party.
Mm-hmm.
That's when she was asked to start having sex, or at least performing sexual acts with guests. And I believe one of those guests was actually one of his employees. I think it was the employee that made the arrangements for her to be picked up and taken to these parties. The guy that was kind of in charge of transportation. That's the way I remember it. Could be wrong.
And he's probably got hundreds of employees.
Oh, absolutely.
He's
got several companies.
Right. I mean, because you think of, okay, this is one guy, how many employees could he have? But I mean, he had to have just an entourage of people that were doing all these things for him.
And you would think a typical person at that point would leave. However, now she's worried because if she doesn't perform, her boyfriend loses the job.
Right.
And her boyfriend really likes that job. So, mixed with the fact that there's now alcohol and drugs involved, probably not thinking straight, might not even be conscious. I don't know. So she performs the acts. And then she goes back again because now she has to.
Right.
And that continued until she decided that she was going to quit. But then Diddy offered her a recording deal herself.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. So now she's got her boyfriend's modeling job. And now she's potentially going to be a star, a singer, whatever the case may be, a recording deal. So she stays. And it continues. Ultimately, she gets out. And what do you suppose happened? No more modeling career.
Right.
Done. So, I mean, he kept his promise. But I can't, and I think this went on for years. I don't think this was like a...
Well, I'm sure he just kept dragging it on. Well, we don't have time to go to the studio now, or my voice coach isn't available today, or, well, yeah, well, I got so-and-so lined up to come meet with you next week. It was probably always something to just pacify her. It's always coming.
It's the same pattern with every complaint that I read. There's the promise of a business deal of some sort. And then there's hey, I've got a little extra detail for you. And then there's well, if you don't continue with this side gig, then I'm going to take away what I've already promised. And I think he would give them a little bit of a taste. So I don't think that he would necessarily not give them anything, but he would give them just that first little bit. And then he kind of had them. Plus the fact that we know that he recorded, and I'm assuming that they eventually found out that he was recording. He probably held that over their head.
Right. And also, was it you and I having this conversation before that, part of it too was he would pay for everything for them. So it could have been the situation where he was buying them things or paying for this and paying for that. I mean, he could have been saying, well, if you quit now, you owe me. You owe me for all that back pay or whatever it was all the stuff I did for you, I'm going to want that back. And, how are they going to pay for it? So then there's another way that they're probably stuck.
Yeah, they're probably, in Cassie's case, for sure, he was paying for her apartment. You bought her car. So you take that away, you've got nothing.
Right.
And I'm sure that he probably, now I'm just speculating because I don't know that I read this, but he could have been doing the same thing they were either living in one of his apartments or a studio, but regardless, he did have the tapes. And if not only would he be blackballed if they backed out or left, but he would threaten to leak a tape.
Right.
And your reputation.
Kind of like somebody else we've heard about.
Oh, who's that?
Maybe Epstein.
What?
Allegedly.
Yes. Well, I don't think we have to worry about Epstein suing us.
No, but.
No, that one's done. Maybe, is it Geisley or why do they always have
Ghislaine?
Why do they have weird names?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
Ghislaine.
Something else that's funny, that's similar between these two cases. I believe that one of the assistants that assisted Diddy was also a female. And I don't know if that's done intentionally so you can...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It just, as a female, and I think Marissa will attest for this, but as a female, you're bound to trust a female a little bit more. If you got a female working for you, I'm going to trust you.
I mean, it's not
a little bit more.
It's not that bad.
I'm just saying, as a rule, I think all females would feel more comfortable if there's another female.
Well, I think especially
doing some of the setup deals, and saying in the background, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. It's okay.
Yeah, especially at the beginning.
Right. Absolutely.
At some point, he's got you because you're on video.
Right.
There's other people there that know about it.
Yeah.
So what else we got?
Well, I don't know because I tried to go back and look at some of the trial information, but there's no cameras in there, so you're not. There's nothing you can really go by as far as what's happening in the actual trial, other than third party.
Yeah, you're stuck listening to the news
statements, and I don't necessarily always trust the media.
What? I mean, they're every bit as reliable as this podcast.
That's right. That's right. It's all bullshit.
Oh, man, the Diddy thing. It's crazy that something can drag out this long. What's bad is it's not even a secret. Because some of these cases that were filed with courts, some of these complaints were made years ago.
Right.
So people kind of knew. And I don't know if...
That's how deep it goes.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because people don't care, or maybe it's not the biggest story at the time, or now that it's actually in court.
Well, it's little minnows going against a big shark.
Well, that's true.
How far are they actually going to get?
Well, I think it also comes down to there's all these things going on all the time. And right now, there's only a couple of court cases that are really mainstream. And Diddy's just happens to be one of them.
Right.
So it just makes you wonder, What the hell else is going on? Probably nothing.
Nothing.
No.
It's always what they want you to see, though. It's the stuff that's hidden. That's the big news.
Well, I guess what I wonder next, because we're not going to get a lot of information out of this case now that there's no video cameras, no recording devices allowed in the federal courtroom. What else is going to pop up? Something's got to pop up. There has to be. So I heard a rumor.
Excuse me.
I don't know if this is true, but I have seen some video where he's meeting with, oh shoot, who's the young pop singer? Real popular. Oh, Bieber. Justin Bieber. Have you seen some of those?
You mean the old video footage of him? Or
yeah,
what do you
the
mean?
old video footage. So there was I saw video footage of when Bieber was really young. And I don't know if it's the first time he's meeting Diddy or a second time, but pretty early in his career. And I don't want to say that he seemed excited, but kind of excited because he's meeting this, Diddy, big deal.
Right.
They're walking around the car. It's awesome.
Right. So do you know that whole story?
I don't.
The alleged story of that?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube or some platform like that. He was just singing in his bedroom, and somebody discovered him. And whether it was Usher or not, I don't know. Somebody then said, hey, there's this kid that's talented, yada, yada. Usher is the one who actually introduced him to Diddy. So the backstory on Usher is Usher started the same way as one of Diddy's
bands.
Yeah, basically. But, the story is that, it's the same thing. Give you a promising career, but behind the scenes is all this stuff.
So but neither one of those actually had record deals with Bad Boy. Not that I'm aware of.
I don't know what record it was under.
But what I do know.
But yeah, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that whole video came about when so Usher introduced him to Diddy. Diddy then was his guardian for however long. Or Usher became his guardian. I can't remember actually which it was. Maybe Usher became his guardian. And then let him stay with Diddy for a week or two. And they had the Diddy camp. Or, I can't remember what it was actually called. But something along the lines of Diddy camp. And that's when all of the blackmail information got recorded.
I bet Diddy camp is nothing like Boy Scouts.
Right.
Well,
there was an actual interview with Usher that said, would you let your kids go to Diddy camp? And he's like, absolutely not. Because it's alleged that Usher was actually sent to the hospital for a protruding rectum after his Diddy camp.
Not enough fiber.
Yeah, that's it.
Or something else.
Says Bieber was signed to RBMG Records.
Yeah.
Island Def Jam, which was a joint venture between Usher and Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun. Okay. Yeah, there's another name.
Scooter Braun. Never heard of Scooter Braun.
Scooter Braun is a producer, right? Scooter Braun had the big controversy or fight with Taylor Swift, because Scooter Braun is the one that bought all of Taylor Swift's songs, her albums, her original albums. He's an American businessman, investor, and record executive.
We're going to need to get Marissa on mic.
Yeah, we are.
Well, she kind of has a mic.
Yeah, she's going to need to, because she's the one looking up all the information. Yeah, because I have bits and pieces that I remember of the story, but I can't go into depth to tell you everything about it. But
well, one thing that I do know is
he found the talent. Scooter Braun is the one that originally found Justin Bieber on YouTube.
So he's maybe a producer and a talent scout.
He's a talent scout. He started out as a talent scout and then I think became a producer, and he's yeah.
But back to Biebs. So I seen in a video, and I don't know how many years later it was, where he's with P. Diddy, and he wasn't acting the same.
Right.
As a matter of fact, in one of those videos, it appeared as though P. Diddy was patting him down. And when I first heard that, I thought, maybe he was just kind of brushing up against his chest or something, or maybe, slapping him on the chest like a bro deal. But then I saw the video and it's like, nope, that's a pat down. So he was patting the chest, the shoulders.
Was he looking for a recording device, or what was he looking for?
I think he was looking for a mic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how long the feds have been looking into this, and I don't know when that video was taken. But what I do know is if you think you might be doing something wrong, you kind of act, well, like Puff Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Love. I've never even heard Love. You ever heard him called Love?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
He called himself Love. It was Brother Love at first.
Brother Love.
And then he dropped the brother, and then it was just Love.
Wow. There's definitely some irony in there.
Mm-hmm. Brother Love, for sure.
Brother Love.
For sure.
I'm just going to smack the shit out of you, Brother Love. I did hit my brothers.
See, now that's where your mind went. My mind went somewhere else.
Where'd yours go?
Well,
Sometimes I like to hear your mind.
Brotherly love,
Oh, yeah, that kind of brotherly love. What time we sitting at? 39 minutes. You have anything to add on, Diddy?
Well, probably not yet. I mean, there's a lot we can add on to Diddy, but I mean, that would take us weeks.
I know we didn't.
Where do we want to start? I mean, this is just dipping our little itty bitty pinky toe into it.
And I know it. I didn't plan on talking about necessarily the court case or the trial because really I don't have a bunch of information, but I do think that maybe people should take some time. And I know that some of these court cases didn't go anywhere. Matter of fact, I'm not so sure any of them did. I think he paid a lot of them off. But it definitely shows a pattern, and they're awfully similar.
For sure.
So, yeah.
And it's all about power.
It's all about power.
Power struggle.
That's why I'm doing this podcast. I want power.
Good luck.
Yeah, in my garage. Under the lights. Oh, yes.
You mean one light?
No, there's
two.
There's two whole lights. Yep. And if we didn't say allegedly, we could lose those lights.
That's right.
All right. Well, what do you think?
Good job.
All right. We'll catch you next time.
Adios.
Later. Marissa? Next time.
Oh, shit. That's funny.